What's up, Luca Nation? We come on here. Usually we kick it around for about 30 seconds. Andrew tells me, hey, we got this to talk about, And comes on today and he says, I don't know what to talk about. And I said, just hit the button. Meanwhile, in the last 48 hours, there has been no shortage of things to talk about. I mean, Andrew called that the Grizzlies were going to demolish the Nets last night, and they did. It wasn't even close. That was a betting win for you. We had Big Ben. I want to talk about Big Ben a little bit because we're probably never going to talk about him ever again because he is the epitome of cardboard irrelevant, except for maybe this week. I'd love to tell you right now Ben's going to be my play, but I want to talk about Ben and some crazy stats that they put forth in last night's episode. This little thing happened yesterday. A company called Fanatics bought a company called Tops. Maybe we have that to kind of kick around a little bit today. And today's that we have nothing to talk about. Ken Goldin went live for the umpteenth time in a row last night. I jumped in about 20 minutes after, and he immediately says, Cage, where were you? I was going to jump on. I was asking if any podcasts were in here for me to talk about my ideas about the Fanatics deal, but I just went through it all myself because no one was here. So I missed it by 20 minutes. We could have had Ken Goldin on talking about it. Ken, we'll have you on another time. My apologies for being late. It's more fun to watch him rip packs of 90s basketball anyway. True. And by the way, in case anyone missed it, Ken is of the belief that if you're expecting the Panini shoe to drop now, don't expect it. That's not happening anytime soon. The licenses that Panini owns go for a significantly longer amount of time going forward with basketball. So don't expect, like, on the heels of this Tops, Panini's coming right off the bat. Can
I give you my one hot take on that real quick?
Shoot, please.
And you could riff. First off, I see why people want you to join their lives. That wasn't the only one. You were asked to join the double coverage live.
Yes.
And it's really a testament, Cage, to you, us showing up daily and really leading with how can we help the community? How can we be a positive member of the community, whether that's with jokes and levity when card prices are down, or information or insight, or, we've been very fortunate to get amazing guests on the show. So I just want to give a shout out to you. You're an awesome guy. You're hilarious, but you're equally intelligent. You know your stuff. And I hope people realize that. I think Panini's
that was
cooked.
A sort of shout out to Double Coverage, who awarded you the Lemon of the Year. And I don't know whether or not
I am a little lemon.
Not, but what I went on and what I told them was that there is no me without you. And in turn, there is no you without me. So if you're getting a lemon, I'm partially lemon as well. Mostly because I don't want you getting an award that I don't get, because I'm that guy. I'm that guy, right? I need the award myself. But you roll into a cool thing.
Why I got the lemon? Like, what were like the 1, 2,
You know what I think
it
is? I think it's just that the people there respect your takes enough that you're thought of. You're big in Australia. That's what it is. You're big in Australia. So they just wanted to give you kind of like a lifetime achievement award for the 500 or so episodes worth of LeBron hatred. And I told them you just came around on LeBron. Listen to the fractional episode, and it's not a bad thing to come into the season and say sell your LeBron and buy Curry, because if anybody did that and listened to what Andrew said, they'd all be sitting pretty right now. They'd be making lemonade, is what they'd be making. But
like I'm not going to sit here and tell you. Oh, that's pretty cool. So is that the SGC free sub
from Australia? From the folks here. And I this is no fun. I'll talk as I do it because unless you're watching this on YouTube, you won't get the benefit of seeing this. Come here, Ian. But they mentioned in your award ceremony that they sent us they sent me a Christmas present. They have one coming for you also. You can't hide from them because they know our PO box now. So they're gonna send it, and you're gonna be there. And they're also sending you, Beats and Breaks, who made our Lucas Tigers, the custom card. They made a custom lemon 1-of-1 card for you.
Get out of here.
That's gonna be coming in the mail. So a big thank you to those guys. That's pretty cool. So I got a lot of bubble wrap going on over here. But they said they sent something fun for Ian. So there's a lot of tape and bubble wrap and cool stuff. But I mean, this is cool, man. This is the kind of stuff that, like, you gotta love. They send you bubble wrap. Yeah, they send you bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap is so much fun. That's even more fun than opening packs. Just lay that on the ground.
The community that is built around this stuff is amazing. And you know what's fun about it is I get to learn as much, if not more, from the community than they're learning from us. I got somebody texting me earlier from up in Canada who's a hockey fan. Hey, how close do you live to New Jersey? you might have to go pick up some Gretzky's for me. And I'm thinking about doing it, even though it's not exactly close to where I live, because I try to do the favors. But more importantly, this person has taught me a lot about hockey cards. I'm not an expert in hockey, but I feel like I understand hockey a little bit. But check this out. You know what else I get to learn about? Ian gets to learn about Australian football. Check that out. So it's a collector's album, Australian football, that, appears to be full. Look at that. It's called rugby. Not exactly. We got a little Cage and Andrew card here. Little card to Cage and Andrew. Look at this. It's like Christmas stuff. I love this.
That's awful.
This is nice stuff, right? Check this out, buddy. This is for you. AFL captains. You know, it's got all.
By the way, I'm still blown away by the design of the custom card that you got from Beats.
Brisbane Lions. You know, Mac. Oh, I love it. So check that out, man. Should I read this?
You are taking this. This is a solo episode. I'm just here as as the fans.
Oh, look, they sent me Uncle Larry. Yes. So they were doing a live of that grid F1 stuff, and I was making fun because they were looking for the Michael Schumacher 1982, right? And they pulled this guy out of a pack of cards. And I said, what the hell is this? That looks like my Uncle Larry. Look at this guy.
And he's going to pull him up and
What's his name?
Cage,
what's his name?
What's his name? His name is Gabriel Rumi from Fundamental Grid.
Fundamentals.
Formerly owned by Enzo Acella. Here you go. So we got a little Gabriel Rumi. Uncle Larry is how he's affectionately known here. And check these out. I mean, come on. This is cool stuff, man. You don't know, who the hell, who's ever seen these things? The Dusty Dodger. Look at these things. Nat Fife. He's probably pretty good. Look at this gold card here. Anyway, so I mean, this is pretty awesome stuff. Thank you, Double Coverage guys. Andrew wins the Lemon of the Year award, and we win. What they said was they sent me a gold Prism Christmas card. So here you go, little gold around the card. So there you go. It's fun stuff, man. Ian, you get a whole album here. Check this out. There you go. Merry Christmas from Macca's. Collect your Macca's captain's card. Look at that. They don't say McDonald's. It's Macca's. See that? Here you go.
Macaw.
Merry Christmas from Double Coverage. Enjoy. All right. So that was a little detour down Fun Road. I didn't know what that was going to be. It was, it was a pretty cool thing I picked up in the P.O. box today. And with it, in addition to those, I started picking up the cards from our audience who are getting free SGC grading. So those have started to come in also. So that's pretty cool. Little Luca Nation SGC grading. We hope to have SGC on, soon to kind of talk about, what they got going on over there as well. So most impressive performances of the week. I want to hear your analysis of all of them, and you tell me which one is the most impressive. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Most impressive. Jaylen Brown's 50, right? Is it the Trae Young 56-14? Is it the back-to-back weeks by Joe Burrow putting up 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns? Is it Jamar Chase? Can those kind of piggyback? Is it Fanatics purchasing tops? Or is it the Grizzlies team effort against the Nets? Talk to me about those. Because there's a lot of fun stuff to chat about.
Those are actually all my topics. I was kind of tongue in cheek saying we don't have a lot to talk about. My show is the show I have like the agenda. Fanatics buys tops, and I would take on Panini. Grizzlies, Trey, Burrow, and I want to talk about that flip stock card. But I'll rank it this way. So for me, the Grizzlies backcourt, Desmond Bane and Ja are really tough to stop because. You've seen how Desmond Bane was kind of your play originally. Yeah. You put him on my radar, and I've been watching him play. The guy's built like a running back. Yeah. The guy's built like Nick Chubb that could shoot. He shoots 43%, 42% from 3. So you have that guy, right? And then you have Ja Morant that's quick, shifty. He could dunk on anybody. His 3-point shot looks better. That's a dynamic 1-2 punch. Like it kind of reminds me of Smash and Dash. Remember Reggie Bush and Lendell White? Yep. Like they hit you from such different angles, and they're so young, Cage. Desmond Bane, is he a rookie this year?
Yeah, these last year's rookie class. Yeah,
last year he was a rookie.
I mean, It's you actually have rookie cards of his right now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So
unlike this year's rookie class.
that's my play, and I would go colored with him. Maybe like jersey match blue or light blue ice. I would get something a little bit higher end because, as you've seen, I was actually explaining cards to someone new in the space today, and I was like, "Look, Luca base prism is down, 5x or 4x from its highs. Silver is down half, but the blue and the gold that's still holding super strong. So to me, that's the number one. I don't rate Trey's 56-point performance that much. I actually rate Anthony Simmons' performance more because, dude, there is no way this Atlanta Hawks team should have lost to that Blazers team. That Blazers team is reeling, dude. They don't even have a big man, and they lost. So, okay, he put up 56, but so what? His team can't win. His team hasn't improved. I think they're the biggest disappointment in the league this year.
Maybe
bar none. You're gonna hate me for this.
The 1 seed Knicks.
The Knicks lost a really important piece, and the Mavs got that piece. And I know you laugh at me when I talk about role players like Reggie Bullock, but dude, those guys matter. Those 3-and-D guys really complete rotations. And look at the Mavs.
I think you're 100% right. Listen, I think both the Hawks fans and the Knicks fans got spoiled last year with teams ending up 4-5. One of them had to advance, and neither of them were that good. And they're being exposed this year. And the Knicks made moves that, in the beginning of the season seemed like the right move. But Kemba Walker and the Knicks coach was Tibbs. They don't seem to get along. He was trying to make a point with him. You don't want to play? Okay, don't play ever again. You're not starting anymore. And Kemba he's
a nice guy.
Defensive weakness. He can fill the bucket whenever he wants, but he's a defensive weakness. And you know who reverted back to his Celtics, not Magic or Olympics, but Evan Fournier has been a pretty big disappointment for those guys. He hasn't really showed up. And those were their off-season signs that were going to help the team improve on their 4 seed last year, and they were going to be a winner. Nope. And the Hawks, come on, you were on the Hawks. You were on the Hawks I don't know, whatever. And they were all athletic. But after you watched them a little bit this year, you said, you know what, the problem with the Hawks is they don't have those role players. They have 5 guys who are all interchangeable. They're all these tall, athletic guys who can high fly, play above the rim, and they don't fill out the roles that well. So, you compare that, and it's why I put the Grizzlies team in there, because it's amazing you're on Bane. One day you'll give Ja his love, because he'll be the glue that holds that team together. He's the athlete. He is the alpha there. You're on Bane last year, and even coming into this year, you said that Jaren Jackson Jr. was the guy. But here's the thing. You don't have to pick out which one of them is the alpha, because they're starting to play as a team, right?
Right.
That's the difference.
Well, it doesn't take, you talk about the Warriors, right? They had a trio. They had this young trio that they drafted back-to-back years. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Clay. And then they brought in vets around that team to complete the rotation. Sean Livingston, they had David Lee there, who they got rid of. Then they got Iguodala. I think Ja is incredible. Ja is he's going to go down as the best player in that draft, for sure. But
it's going to be pretty easy if Zion never plays again. But yeah.
It's not that I don't think Ja's good. I think Ja's very good. I think Ja needs pieces around him. I think what I'm starting to see is Desmond Bane's finding his own. Jaren Jackson's finding his own. Dylan Brooks is going to be interesting. I don't know where he's going to fit in that rotation. I have a second most impressive. You didn't mention it, but and dude, this surprised me. And this is why NBA League Pass is worth its weight in gold. You know who the best 3-point shooter in the leagues in the last month is?
Who?
Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I did see his stats.
Wiggins is the best 3-point shooter by percentage the last month since December 15th. For the year, he's shooting 44% from 3. And, dude, the real winner there, you got to give credit to the player. You got to give credit to the development team, dude. Wiggins was a bust.
It also goes to show you what being in the right situation can do. And I know he was there last year, but now you have Draymond back. You have Steph playing at elite level. You have Jordan Poole stepping it up. You're going to get Clay back this week, which we can talk about, right? Wiseman will come back whenever it is. Like Wiggins, you can't double him. He's going to be open. He's not the guy that you're going to double team. He should be open from out there. And I mean, that's only half the equation. You still got to knock the shot down. This year he's doing it. So you think he's working on his game?
I think he's working on his game. I think also the culture of the Warriors, and this is the culture we're trying to build here. It's we play hard but have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like that team, Curry takes the pressure off the guys. Like even when they're missing shots and things aren't going well, you never see like infighting. You never see infighting. You never see any of that nonsense. You always see them having good times, high-fiving. He's genuinely happy for his teammates. I think that leadership of like honey from Curry, and then you have Draymond, he's a little rough around the edges at first, but I think he helps people improve. But let me give you a stat line. Wiggins is averaging 19 points per game on 44% shooting from three and almost 50% from the field. I mean, that's going to be their third option now. That's incredible. And we just talked about Reggie Bullock, 3-and-D. There's your 3-and-D guy. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He's so athletic. He's so long. He could go and match up with Durant. He could get the point guard. Really got to give. I don't think Wiggins is cardboard relevant. I think Jordan Poole is probably more cardboard relevant than him. But I think he's really come into his own, man.
Wiggins was supposed to be. He was supposed to be something. I mean, there are probably people who have a bunch of Wiggins cards that have been waiting for him to do something. You know what I mean? And he clearly is. And I mean, look, you could become a guy who is cardboard relevant if the Warriors run the way we think they're going to run, and he's actually contributing with big shots in the playoffs. All of a sudden, he's a guy who had some real potential who everybody kind of gave up on. There are a couple guys in the league like that, right? Like Karl Anthony Towns comes to mind, right? Now, if he finds himself on a team that's making a playoff run and no one cares about him now, he could be the same type of player, Interesting stuff. And I mean, I like where your mind is at because, Wiggins could be a play easily, just like Desmond Bane. No one's really looking at Wiggins right now because nobody knows the answer to the trivia question you just gave. You can go on StarStock and probably find some Wiggins, StarStock A's really cheap. You go on ComC and probably pick up a stack of them. And if he continues to do what he's doing, and like I said, has a playoff run in him where he drops 30 points in a playoff game, 35 points, whatever it is, you could double your money on those cards just flipping them right back through a StarStock or ComC. You don't have to own the cards,
2014 Prism, 806 pop, $78 was the last sell. And that's not my play today, guys, but I'm just wanting to give you guys Andrew Wiggins, 806 pop, PSA 10. This is the base one, $78.
For a PSA 10?
Yes.
I'm talking about like if you bought a raw one, it's probably a couple bucks.
Would you recommend raw?
Listen, you could buy the PSA 10s 100%, but I'm saying go on and see if on ComC you could buy 50 raw ones for $150 and then, or 200. I don't know. I didn't look, but if you can, and they're only a couple dollars each. And then, when the playoffs come, sell them for $5 each. And, it's also a way of making a little bit of money there,
Yeah, but I got upset with Manny today about that same concept of like, that sounds good in theory, but it's StarStock doesn't have, they kind of abandoned their raw card model. Right now they're a breaker. Now they're doing it on eBay. I haven't used ComC enough. So we'll have to ask King DJ Sports about that. Cause dude, the guys, you got to give him love. This is from like our OG group. This is a kid from Iowa that just like flips $1 and $2 cards. I remember I laughed at him once for flipping like Mikal Bridges cards. He bought them for like 33 cents and sold them for $9 a piece. I don't know that world. That takes a lot of effort. I do know the PSA 10 world where they're graded. Those are just easier to move, in my game.
Yeah.
Raw's tough to move right now, Cage.
What'd you say?
Raw is a little bit challenging to move.
All right. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of money eBay in single dollars. You know what I mean? You can get plenty of them under 10. There are some PSA 10s. There's a lot. 2014 had those weird, like, the variations where, there's like words behind them,
Yeah.
The SP variations on them too. So, there's some interesting stuff there. All right. Well, Wiggins.
Let's keep going about Burrow.
What's up? Talk to me about Burrow.
Burrow. Sell high.
Sell high. Okay. Burrow.
I mean, dude, they're impressive, but let's remember, this is the NFL. This isn't the NBA. They're going to run into a few juggernauts. That team has a ton of weaknesses. They're not experienced in the postseason. And they've had two of their biggest wins in like the last 20 years for that team. I just don't see how they make a significant run in the postseason that adds any value to his cards. And even if they do, I'm not sure that they're going to be much higher than they are now. I think it's one of those where you could sell now and rebuy in the offseason again.
All right. Amazing 2-game run. Got to give him some credit.
Yeah, I think if you watch that team, it still has a tremendous amount of glaring weaknesses. And I think if you watch the game versus the Chiefs, it was really close from being a blowout. And then Jamar Chase kind of took that slant pass. And, dude, watching these games in real time is incredible because at no point did I think that was good. You know which play I'm talking about? The first touchdown when they were down by – you were watching that live?
Yep.
Or did you watch –
No,
at no point did I think he was going to score a touchdown, and he just burned the rest of the team. Like that doesn't happen in the pros as often as you would think. Like that happens in college, but that doesn't happen in the pros. Like where he outruns the team even though he's 5 yards behind them.
Yep. Listen,
that was
impressive duo. And I'll be the first one to tell you. I mean, I liked Burrow. You guys, last year I was more Burrow than Herbert, but not thrilled about either of them. But coming into the season, I criticized their draft, and I'll own it. When I make a bad call, I make a bad call. I've always been a believer that when you have a rookie quarterback who's coming off of an injury, okay,
you draft O-line,
builds up your offensive line. They had an early pick. You should have went with offensive line. And I said, all right, I get it. I get the play. They're giving him some comfort. This is a teammate of his. He's already got some chemistry with him. And, but Jamar Chase, I mean, he's it's a wide receiver. Wide receiver is a dime a dozen. You can pick up a wide receiver. The top flight offensive lineman. You gotta protect this guy, keep him upright. And boy, was I wrong because he can get the ball out of there pretty quick. And this kid Chase, it's funny in college. Chase was good. Justin Jefferson. Same kind of thing. He did play the role.
Say that again, Cage, for people.
What? Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, same team.
Yeah, but they were very very similar. No, so
same team.
No. So what I said was similar players, right? So, but Jefferson, the reason why
my point is they were on the same team. I apologize, but they were on the same team with Joe Burrow as the quarterback.
Yeah, they were.
That's insane.
These are all LSU guys, right? So, but Jefferson, when he was in college, he didn't play that burner role, like the speed that you see with him in the NFL. You didn't see that in college, and it's why he was picked behind guys in the draft. I think he was picked behind Ruggs. He was picked behind several wide receivers. And he's a little on the smaller side. He's only 6'1", 202 pounds. He doesn't have that prototypical huge, especially where you're dealing with DK Metcalf, type numbers, right? But I mean, he had great numbers. Don't get me wrong, but he had volume numbers in college in 2019 because he was more of a slot type of guy, right? Anyway, so the point being, these guys, they're. I was wrong. And obviously the chemistry is there. And that's a huge thing when you have a quarterback who, already has the timing down with these guys. That's what you're talking about, right? So Burrow, Chase, I mean, real impressive stuff. They've looked really, really good. But I can see what you say. And it's less on that you don't think Burrow's going to be good. It's more of, Burrow's going to win the division, but it is a long shot for them to, advance in the playoffs. Right,
I think those offensive line weaknesses are going to come back to hurt them because, they will.
I mean, I tend to agree with you, and I've been hard on the whole AFC. Whether it's going to be Mahomes, I don't know. I mean, Mahomes come out of the AFC. Does Herbert beat the Raiders on Sunday night in the last game of the season and, take some momentum into the playoffs and make a run? Is it going to be Josh Allen who makes a run? Is it going to be Mac Jones based more on his team than him? I mean, which one of these AFC quarterbacks is it going to be? I mean, we know is it going to be Lamar? I mean, is it going to be Ryan Tannehill? Who the hell knows? So it's crazy stuff. It really is.
I think we're going to, well, obviously it depends on the seeding. I still think the Patriots get out, man. I still think team defense and vet is more important than individual quarterback play, right? Like,
Yep.
that's my take. I'll leave it at that. Like, I think it's Chiefs or Patriots. I think Titans are an interesting sleeper, but they don't have enough. If Derrick Henry comes back, that's a big
I think
bonus
he's
because
eligible to
gonna,
come off the IR this week, and that would
dude,
give them 21 days to bring him back.
and dude, a running back who hasn't played in a little while, fresh, he's gonna do damage if he's 100% healthy. But I'm sticking with my Patriots Buccaneers prediction.
You still think
Dude.
that it's even with as bad as the Bucs have looked, even as bad as the Patriots have looked, even
Patriots
with
have
all
looked
the
good.
Antonio Brown craziness and all that other stuff, doesn't make a difference, right?
I didn't appreciate how they handled that Antonio Brown thing because everyone painted him as the scapegoat, but no one came out with a story from their end. They just said we cut him. Okay, but like we're hearing all these mixed stories, and what I've gathered, and you guys out there could correct me if I'm wrong, is he was injured. There was a foot injury. Did he get hit on the head? I don't know. But he said he was like he didn't want to go back in and play, and right then and there, Arians cut him. Is that the story that you heard?
Yes, but he hasn't been cut yet.
Oh,
He hasn't been cut yet.
I mean, dude, I think a little bit of professionalism on the part of the organization. Where is Cage going? Like, what is he doing? He's been distracted. He's using a computer. I don't know if he's trading NFTs or not, or what happened. But I'll just keep riffing. I didn't appreciate how they handled that because even if he didn't want to go back in the game, I'm just like, all right. And then you have a meeting on Monday. You say, dude, that's not what we're about. We got to cut you. That's it. No drama, none of that nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that they realized they handled it wrong, man, because I saw the news stuff that he's no longer with the team. It was like during the game. He's no longer with the team. It's just interesting, right? And then the day after, it's like, they haven't cut him yet. So I don't know. I think maybe they realized that they're
going to have a scandal, dude. They're going to get sued if they cut a player who said he wasn't injured, especially if it was a head injury and he said he didn't feel right going back in and they cut him. They're going to have a huge lawsuit on their hands. Even I know that, and I'm not a lawyer. You told me I should have been a lawyer.
You should.
Let's get to the topic du jour. I want to hear your take. When you saw Fanatics buy stops just a week and change ago, we had Josh Luber on. Shout out to his team who did an amazing job setting it up. Thank you, Josh, who showed up, did an amazing interview. Good people. He talked about it, but he didn't say for sure it was happening. He said in this perfect scenario, I think is how he worded it. What does this mean? Fanatics buy stops. What's your first impression? Other than you don't have clearly wipe your ass anymore.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Listen, it's great news. If for nothing else, because it basically is irrelevant for a very long time, but if for nothing else, it injects some more optimism and fun into the hobby, right? We're all wondering what's going to happen in 2022. What's going to happen in the hobby? Where's the hobby going to go? What's the story? And I mean, we've started to see even before this news, we started to see a little uptick in prices, a little uptick in excitement. At least I have. Basketball's midway point. You have all-star selections, and we're going to have football's heading towards the playoffs, and Luka's coming back, and Ja's playing well, and a lot of people have a lot of money invested in those guys. LeBron's looking a little bit better now. People have a lot of money. Mahomes, playing well, and people have a lot of money in him. So things are looking up, and then you get this dropped, and if nothing else, it allows you to add that layer of nostalgia, that little wonder, that little what could be into our hobby, into our community here, right? Because even Nat Turner, who, if you haven't looked at my post, I kind of posted it also. That's what he's talking about, done rest wipe my ass, right? He's like, Tops, Chrome, and Finest are back for basketball. Like this is somebody who, it's got to take a lot to get Nat Turner excited about cards, right? It's got to take a lot because look at his collection. It's absurd. It's museum worthy. And yet when the news comes out, he's like, all right, here you go. He's somebody who collects Finest, who collects those Topps Chrome, and is probably excited about adding some to the collection going forward, bringing back that continuity. But I think the biggest thing from a hobby perspective is because it was Topps bridges the gap in so many things, right? You have that Topps Chrome for basketball and for football, which is huge. Trust me, it's huge. But if you listen to our interview with Josh, and I talk about like Topps baseball, and what I was concerned about was Bowman rookies for prospecting. And he was like, what about Topps flagship? And that is a key, right? Because look, it's one kind of collector that wants those chrome refractors, the Topps Chrome for football and for basketball. It's another type of collector that also is the old time, the old style collector, the father and son pass on Topps opening packs on opening day, Topps, getting the Topps rookie and collecting the Topps rookies of, building a set, that kind of stuff, right? So you get an announcement like that that's gonna answer so many questions, and all in a positive way. Now, there's still more questions to be answered, but one of the biggest things about hearing that the MLB license for the first time in 70 years was not going to be with Topps was, well, what's that mean? Are we not going to have Topps rookies? Like, we've had Topps rookies since before Mickey Mantle. You know what I mean? We've had Topps rookies for every great for 70 years, right? And, it's an interesting thing to now be able to say, okay, nothing's changing. And the fun part about it is what I read from it is, and from Josh's interview on the whole, like, if you listen to what he said, is they didn't want to be making Prism and refractors. They didn't want to be doing that. They did not want to be doing their own thing and putting Fanatics all over the cards and that kind of stuff. I think their foray into this is an admission that there's money to be made and that they can do it better, but not by a wholesale overhaul of everything. I think if they're smart, they'll fix the distribution channels of it. They'll fix, the content side of maybe they'll make the products better, tweaks here and there. But to the average consumer, the product's going to be the product. But now what they're able to do by having Topps, Fanatics, whatever else they're going to add into the equation, right, and having these licenses, if they add in some Panini brands, you have what Josh was talking about on our episode, which is your basketball releases for the year. It doesn't have to have Chronicles. It doesn't have to have, all. It can be a Topps release. A Topps Chrome release could be like the base release, Topps Chrome. Or Prism could be a base release, and Topps Chrome could be, the next one up. And then you add in a Finest and maybe an National Treasures or a Flawless or something like that. And you're able to pick and choose the best of the legacy brands of what will be legacy brands at the time. So this is it's cool stuff. It's cool, news to see.
Let me ask you.
Yeah, shoot.
Legacy, nostalgia, all that stuff, like tradition. Topps and Panini, do you put them on the same category? Is Topps a little bit higher because of what they've done for the hobby? Rank them for me next to each other if you can.
Topps and Panini?
Yeah.
I mean, I say Topps is much more significant right now. Yeah.
Right. But if you kind of just pick up on the narrative the last 4 or 5 months, it's been, will Fanatics buy Topps and Panini? And by kind of association, we've grouped them into the kind of the same category. In my opinion, the Topps brand is like Nike and Panini is FUBU after Damon John left.
Okay.
And I think what's going to happen is Panini's done, man. Panini is done, and I think they're going to be bought in 2030 for pennies on the dollar. Because what does Panini have anymore? But they have nothing, right? This one deal, or maybe the fact that the Fanatics got the licenses and now bought Topps, Panini's got nothing. They got no leverage. Yeah, Prism. Dude, if we did away with NBA Prism, nobody would care. If we did away with Panini National Treasures, nobody would care.
I don't know. I mean, listen, people have gotten used to collecting Prism for basketball. Now, if you tell me that that it gets replaced pretty quickly by a Topps Chrome product with refractors in it, I'm sure people will learn to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure.
Not just learn, Cage, they're buying it now. I mean, what's the most valuable card? I mean, some are Panini, but a majority of them are Topps and Topps Chrome.
It depends, man. People who've been collecting for the last 5 years, and trying to prospect and buy this stuff, and maybe they're Giannis guys or they're Luca guys or they're Devin Booker guys. The Panini brand is what they've known. So that's I understand what you're saying. It remains to be seen. I don't know if we even get there. I mean, I think it may be a situation where we probably don't have to make the decision. You know what I mean?
I don't think Fanatics buys Panini. I don't see why they would.
Well, I mean, they're definitely not doing it right now. No need to. But
I think the Panini products we've come to invest in are quickly replaced by Topps products that we know all too well. I'd be interesting to see, like, can they do like a Topps Dynasty for NBA guys that are game used to kind of replicate the National Treasures. But my take was this was a huge move. They bought the right brand. They bought the historic legacy brand, and they avoided a brand that, in my opinion, is a mess. It's just a mess of a brand. And I love the Panini employees. I like the Panini people, but you got to call a spade a spade. That's my take on it. And I think the writing's on the wall for Panini. And even I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I think you guys will correct me if I'm wrong. Panini just lost a few big talents, few big employees have left that organization and have pursued their career elsewhere. So really curious to see. But I love the move by Fanatics. I think it's a good thing for the hobby. I think it's awesome to see Topps Chrome basketball, Topps basketball. I think it's going to be great.
Love it. So, did you play Desmond Bain?
Yeah, Desmond Bain.
Did you play Andrew Wiggins?
Or Ja Morant, but Desmond Bain, I think his cards are just undervalued. I'm a believer in him. I think short term, I think they're gonna be Curry Clay, very similar in that. Obviously, they're not. If they win 4 titles, that's incredible. 3 titles, that's incredible. But I think that's what they're building there. And yeah, I mean, Ja is Curry, but his higher end stuff is already very pricey. I think Desmond Bain market hasn't caught up to him. So I think there's some opportunity there, short term. Long term, Ja is clearly the alpha on that team.
Interesting stuff. I mean, it definitely is.
Dude, Desmond Bain's base rookie is like $4. His silver's $36. Like, these are ungraded. But Carl Letter doesn't even have his PSA 10s on here yet. So, like, it's that early on his market. And I don't know anyone who's talking about Desmond Bain. So
other than me,
other than you,
other than me, Desmond Bain, man, I like the kid, but I mean, no one's talking about Franz Wagner either. And then the dude goes out there and has a monstrous game also. So
he's a baller, dude. He's a baller, man. He's got a good game, but he's on Orlando, and that team's going nowhere fast. I
get it. So here's my play, guys, and I don't want you to buy it right now. Right? I don't want you to buy it right now, but I do want you to maybe take a look at it when the excitement and euphoria kind of fades. He's one of these like him or don't like him. But if you watched Monday Night Football last night, you saw Ben Roethlisberger limping around, looking old, 18 seasons in, give you real appreciation for what Tom Brady has done with his career. And I mean, Brady has 2 more seasons and every record. Roethlisberger, he's my play for today, and he has a 2004 Topps Chrome PSA 10 rookie card. I would just look to add one to my PC just to have. The last one sold, last week for like $650 for Topps Chrome. There's Topps PSA 10 also if you want to take it down a notch. It puts the Chrome, a percentage of somebody like Aaron Rodgers or something like that. But here's the fun thing, right? Couple fun stats about Bennett. And why I say don't buy it right now is because people are looking now. It's Monday night. This is like his, that was his last game at Heinz Field. After 98 wins there in 18 seasons. 6-time Pro Bowler. Okay. two-time Super Bowl winner, right? Obviously, he came out with Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, and that was the big 3 QB, and Rivers and Manning got traded, and Ben out of Miami of Ohio fell to later in the draft and came with a chip on his shoulder, wound up in a great situation, obviously, in Pittsburgh, blue-collar guy, from Ohio, blue-collar team, blue-collar state, and wound up of the three, leading those three quarterbacks, potential Hall of Famers, both, in wins, winning percentage, postseason appearances, longest career of the three, which is crazy because I think both of those guys held on longer than they should have anyway. But here's where it gets fun. This season, Roethlisberger actually passed Phillip Rivers for 5th in the all-time passing yards. 5th, all-time, right? So we talk about a lot of games change, just like Curry breaking a record for three-pointers. It's a little bit different. Take this and sink in. Very soon, probably early next season, number 5 will be taken away from Ben Roethlisberger. You want to guess by who? And we're talking about a lot of yards. We're talking about 60,000 yards passing, right? He's going to be beat by Matt Ryan. Not somebody you think of as like an all-time gunslinger in the league, right? But Matt Ryan next season will likely take over as the number 5 all-time in passing yards in NFL history. Just think about that when we talk about like Matthew Stafford as a Hall of Famer. Stats. So, but anyway, here's the 2 things I heard last night about Roethlisberger that I didn't realize. And it's, if you are, talk about a fan base, he played for one team for his entire career. When I talk about buying stuff, it's look for a Roethlisberger early in his career, right? That's what you're looking at. Somebody who's going to perform, but also who's going to have a fan base. There's going to be a demand for this person. There's going to be, there's going to be some nostalgia to it. And it's why I think he's underappreciated now, because he happened to play with some really great players. He's always going to be compared to Brady. Look, I did it myself in the first sentence, saying that even though he was brought into the league a couple years later than Brady, he's limping around like an old man, and Brady's out there, not eating bread. And so that's always going to happen, but eventually neither of them are going to be playing, and people are going to look back with a different eye. And people who collect cards, who are Pittsburgh Steelers fans, who guys stayed on one team, and they look at his accolades, look at what he did over the course of his career, he's the kind of guy that shouldn't be that cheap, right? And I think he's going to be cheaper. I think right now the prices are a little inflated because people are looking at him, so be smart. There's no rush to grab the Ben Roethlisberger card, but I think over time he's one that appreciates because of that fan base. 1 million people there last night, whether he's my quarterback sign, and I think most wins with the same coach besides, Breeze and Brady, right? I mean, like, just wins all over us. But the 2 stats that stuck out at me last night was 18 seasons. They've never ended one of his seasons with a losing record. And that was in jeopardy because last night they were 7-7-1. And if they would have lost to the Browns, it would have been 7-8-1. He would have had to win next week to go 8-8.
Say that again. They've never ended
seasons. They've never ended a season with him having a losing record. So, like in 2019 when he got hurt, they were 0-2, and then he didn't come back. But ending a season, like the 16-game season, where Ben is ending the season as their quarterback in 18 years, the team has never had a losing record. Think about that.
I mean, Cage, that's incredible.
And I'm going to go one step further because he kind of reminds me of somebody, because he had a very similar stat to this. And I didn't know this until they played it last night on the game, and it made me think of Derek Jeter, right? Another guy who played on a very good team and had some team accolades and had a lot of good support around him and won and was clutch in the postseason and the whole 9 yards. But, people would say wasn't the best. He wasn't the best shortstop during the time he played. Obviously, the Yankee thing is, it's important. But Derek Jeter played like 20 whatever seasons from 95 to 2000, whatever the hell he played. And I think it was like single digits the amount of games he played in the regular season that didn't matter, meaning the team was out of contention, right? Which is all you can ask for from your team. If you're a fan of a team, right, you want to be able to watch on Sunday and say, this team is still in it. They're not the Bears this year. They're not the Giants who gave up. They're not the Jets starting week 4 where they're mathematically eliminated every year. They're not, the Steelers during Ben's tenure, and next week won't add to it because, believe it or not, they will start next week still alive. They are 8-7-1, and if they win next week and the Jaguars beat the Colts. I know it's a lot to ask for. Jaguars beat the Colts, and the Raiders-Charger game doesn't end in a tie. So that's probably going to happen, right? But the Jags-Houston one, that's the tough part. The Steelers can make the playoffs.
Jags-Colts.
So here's the thing. During his 18-year tenure, the Steelers fans, a whole generation of Steelers fans, have had to watch the grand total of 2 games where they were not still mathematically alive for the playoffs. 2 total games where the team was eliminated. Never a losing record, and 2 games out of contention. What more do you ask for?
That's exceptional, because knowing that some of the players that they lost during that time too, right? They had Jerome Bettis towards the tail end, Hines Ward, Paolo Malu. They lost Hall of Famers, right? Like, it's tough when you lose that much talent to not have a losing season the following year. I hate Big Ben. I've been on our Whatnot show. I basically say he has no arms and he can't throw. But
I mean,
you got to give praise where praise is due, and that's an incredible stat. That's an incredible stat.
Nuts, right? You want to talk about winning? And the dude wins. He's got a lot of good accolades. 2 Super Bowls. Not a lot of quarterbacks. 1, 2.
He's got a face you just want to punch, though.
It's true, and he's had some interesting stuff go on during his career as well. And I mean, he's another one of those guys though that you like to think. If he wasn't playing with Brady, how many, playing against Brady, how many more does he potentially win? You know what I mean? Like, and that's tough, right? But
and if he decides to keep his body in good shape, he always looks like he's like right out of the pub. Like,
that's just him, right? I mean, that's why sometimes the success matters, more about where you end up and what situation you find yourself in than your talent overall. And
I know, but you see Brady comes in, he's like, he has no muscles, and now he looks younger and stronger now at 45 than he did at 20.
He does. I never thought when we talked about this that I would ever be, giving Ben Roethlisberger as a play, right? And you watch him last night, I think he threw like 50 passes and had 123 yards. You know what I mean? They did not win the game on his arm, right? But they have in past won on his arm. And he was one of these guys. You got to watch. It's funny to watch like game film. You won't see it now, and it's going to be a lost art almost, because now you have these mobile, quick quarterbacks that are going to pride themselves on getting out of the pocket, and and being able to like scamper and run. Even last week, Zach Wilson had like a 50-yard touchdown run. Like every quarterback has to be able to run, and Ben was mobile. He could move. For a big guy, he could move.
For sure.
But the most amazing thing with him, he can have 3 defenders like draped on him, and he did not go down. They call him Big Ben for a reason, right? I mean, he had a defender on his knees. He had one, jumping on top of him, and he still got the throw off, and and usually got it downfield and got it to a receiver. So some of those things are pretty impressive, clips. Yeah, man, I was surprised by some of those stats, and this play is less on, wow, I think Ben Roethlisberger is going to appreciate next week. Go on Star Stock and buy it because he's going to make the playoffs. It was more of, when you look at the love from his teammates, you look at the love from the, just overall from the fans, you look at just the outpouring of support that was there. There aren't that many people who leave the field like that. Giving high fives, walking around the whole field. Like I remember Wade Boggs doing it on a horse, we won a championship. That kind of stuff. Like there are certain guys that are just emblematic of a franchise and of a city. And that's what you saw out of him last night. When you add in just these stats that I had never even thought of. Think about that. 18 seasons. And you end that season where he's the starting quarterback and you never have a losing record. Like, think about how easy he made it to be a Steelers fan.
In football, that's nearly impossible. Like, if you're NBA, okay, like big market teams, they attract the best talent. Like in football, that is incredible, just incredible. I'm speechless. I wonder if our audience knew that stat. I mean, Tony Harley had to have, but like, that's fascinating, man.
The dude
18 seasons, right? No losing record.
That long, and he's never experienced a losing season. I mean, it's just crazy. It really
it's like my first boss when I was working at Jumio in sales. He always told me perception is reality. Big Ben has an interesting perception, right? Like you don't think of him as a winner, but then you like kind of just you hide the name and you show those accolades. 18 seasons, 2 Super Bowls. Did he ever win MVP? I doubt it, right?
I don't think he won the, but I mean, think of who else is here.
Fifth in yards. I mean, like you could go down the list and put all these career stats. I think 99% of people would never guess that that's Big Ben, and you'd uncover it, and then you start like kind of thinking, you're like, wow, that's pretty incredible. That's pretty. I mean, he has a better record than Eli, right? He has 2 Super Bowls, better resume than Eli. 2 Super Bowls, more passing yards, probably more touchdowns.
It's amazing.
All right. Can I circle back to Desmond Bane? These are the 2 cards.
Yeah, of course.
Cage was. This is specifically what I would look to buy. So I think PSA has no plans of opening up value sub until June, July. And I also don't think that they have any plans of moving their $100 regular to.
By the way, before I go too crazy on this, just because we have people who fact check in the whole 9 yards, right? Why this is a fun one is, like I said, in 2019 he went 0-2 as a starter before missing the remainder of the season, and in 2006 Charlie Batch started and won the season opener. So Ben went 7-8. The team was 8-8. You know what I mean? So that's why I said the team didn't end the season with a losing record. But let's give Charlie Batch his credit there. Ben was 7-8 that year, but the Steelers were 8-8 because Charlie Batch started the game for him. I'm sure Ben would have won it anyway. But I'm just making sure we have all of our ducks in a row on that one. So, but yes,
we do have fact checkers. And guys, I'll apologize in advance. We've been getting a lot of YouTube comments. I've been slacking. I'm not even going to make excuses in responding to those. I see all of them. They go to my email. I love you guys. I answer in my head. I apologize for not answering in real life.
What is the best answer from the answer in your head? When you say, what's the best answer you've ever given in your head? That's what I want to know. Wow, he's really thinking. This was like
most of the comments are good points. Like most of the comments are like things I slipped up or I didn't say. It was fact checkers or hey guys, you're the best show in the world. It's one of two. It's like hey, just fact check this or you guys are the best show in the world.
Well, that one. I mean, what's the comment to that? We know we are.
No, thank you. It's. I'm very conscious to stay humble. I'm not even gonna go I'm not going to get too high on my own supply. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I don't think I'm that great. I think I'm just figuring it out one day at a time. And any day I get lazy, I know
it's a team effort. So you're just going to take it one day at a time. All praise to the team, and the Lord above. Yeah, exactly. You've got it. You got it down, right? John Moxon is just one man. Do you know what that's from?
You know what I've noticed, Cage? John Madden said this. He said, I went right from playing to coaching to the booth. And I'm the luckiest man in the world. And I've just started admitting that I'm just the luckiest man in the world. A lot of successful people, you would think they would take all the credit to themselves. I've actually noticed the complete opposite as I've gotten older. I've noticed the people that don't have a lot of success, they always say it's them, them, them. I've noticed that some of the most successful, revered people, they just say that they were lucky. And they realize how much luck had to do with where they ended up. But I also think it's that reticular activating system where if you believe that you're lucky, you start to see things that make you lucky in the world. And
Guys, who's lucky? Lucky is our OG listeners who way back in the day got to hear you explain what the monkey brain was. I have to find what episode that was and direct people to it because this RAC, the reticulated activator syndrome that you're talking about with the brain,
RAS.
You went on a whole thing about the monkey brain.
This is before you thought you were you fully embraced the whole self-improvement, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Now you spin the bike and
I gotta do it today. I didn't do it yesterday because I was watching Monday Night Football. I came upstairs and my wife was like, "You cheated today. You didn't ride the bike. She rode the bike without me."
She's the true champ. She holds us both accountable.
She does. Behind every
strong man is a stronger woman. So Desmond Bane, I don't think PSA has any intention. This is pure speculation. No insider, nothing like that. Just pure speculation. Watching them. I don't think that they have any plans of reopening value sub till June, July at the earliest. I don't think they have any plans of dropping that $100 fee for regular to anything that's affordable for cards like in the $20, $30, $50 range. I just don't think that that's their business model as of right now. They even put it in their New Year's resolutions. They want to get caught up on the backlog. So they're not going to be incentivizing a lot of cards being sent. At the same time, SGC is the reverse. SGC doesn't have a backlog. Their 30-day sub is coming back in 22 days. Peter just did a video on that. And Modern is, in my opinion, underpriced in those slabs because they grade really well. So here are the two cards that I was on eBay that I think you should take a look at. It's a Desmond Bain Silver for last year. In a 9.5 that sold for $60. In a SGC 10 that sold for around 100. Okay, so the SGC 10 Silver of Desmond Bain, $100. Compare that to Anthony Edwards, for example, $1,300 in a PSA 10. Now, the second card is the Select Courtside. Okay, low pop. I know you don't love Select Cage, but the Select Courtside, $85 in an SGC 10. Those are the two I'd look at. Under $100, perfect mint condition. Of a company that I think is going to be the modern grading company in 2022. Okay?
I gotta tell you my little trick for this one, right, guys?
Sure.
Is people are opening up. What are they opening up? Immaculate now? That's what's out right now. Immaculate.
I was looking at Immaculate. They're
right?
beautiful cards.
But here's what I would do.
They're not associated with any player. Like the patches from Immaculate.
Yeah, or get in Lil Pullman, or get in, a Pull Wax with Mikey Vinegar, or Filth Bomb, or whoever you break with, right? Whether it's, Jess with Bleeker, or Starstock breaks and Kevin. I mean, whoever it is you break with. I can go on for 4 hours about the breakers because there's no shortage of breakers. Coffee breakers, right? Come on, who am I leaving out? There's a million breakers, right?
I don't break. I haven't broken
What I would
wax
do
maybe
is
in 6-7 months.
I would get in there and somebody got the Grizzlies in their break. And they're probably not that happy with it because it's not Ja's rookie. Now, they're okay with the Grizzlies, right? Because you get some Ja stuff, right? But you can get Desmond Bain. And those people are probably looking to get some money back because they didn't get a huge Ja hit. They got a Desmond Bain. And you can grab probably a card off of one of these breakers pretty straightforward. Maybe buy a couple of Grizzly spots because last month, $1,350. You know what that bought you? $1,350. It bought you the National Treasures RPA out of 99, the true RPA of Desmond Bain, $1,350. 7 bids. I'm looking at it right now on eBay. Number 81 of 99. There's already been ones that are graded. If you don't want to go that one, because obviously that's the crazy one, that's the one everybody goes after. If you want to go horizontal, you can get the horizontal RPAs for Bain for half that, less than half that, a couple $100. One's out of 49. I see one here, National Treasures Private Signings Auto, just a regular National Treasures autograph of him, $89 or best offer.
Private signings?
Yeah. It's called Private Signings Auto. That's what it says on the bottom. National Treasure Private Signings.
It's kind of cool.
It's not their flagship. It's not one of the other, but that's one of the cards that's in this year's National Treasures. And take a look. And if you like Immaculate or whatever it may be, there's a lot of ways to hit this. $50, buy it now for the Desmond Bain Private Signings 2021 National Treasures. $50. An auto. Pretty crazy.
Any
People
final
aren't
words?
looking at Desmond Bain, man. They're not looking at Desmond Bain just yet, are they?
I mean, people don't realize this. This Grizz team sort of reminds me of the run that the Hawks made last year, and I think they're going to be playing in some meaningful games. Cage, they have 2 win streaks this year of 5 or more. They're 24-14, 4th in the West. I think this team is going to be interesting, man. They're only a few games behind the Jazz. The Jazz are a regular season juggernaut, but if they get that top 4 seed, which here's really what the kicker is: the Nuggets, Mavs, Clippers, and Lakers, they're all significantly behind that 4 seed. If they get a playoff spot, I fully expect them to get out of the first round. they could surprise some people in the second round. And they'll be playing some meaningful games. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that Hawks team last year. It should be really interesting.
Bunch of fun stuff. Let's end it with this. A big thank you to Luca Nation. Yesterday's 24-hour period was our most listened to ever 24-hour period in the history of the podcast. I'd like to give that announcement every week. I feel like I'm doing it every week or so, but yesterday was the most listened to 24 hours ever. We're talking thousands with an S of listens, which is amazing over a 24-hour period. So thank you guys for that. And that does not include YouTube. That's just your audio listen. So amazing. Thank you guys for tuning in. We hope we're still delivering as much value for you guys as you've come to expect from us. And more than that, a bunch of thank yous, right? Remember what this is, guys. It's a hobby. Yeah, sure, there's big money in it. And yeah, I'm going to go the thank yous from a bunch of different levels. Thank you to Double Coverage for all your awesome content and for this great Christmas present. Thank you for sending it. It's got to go through customs and all the craziness. Ian is right now looking at different Australian Football League players, which is something he never would have done, something he would never have been exposed to if you didn't do that. And that's one of the cool things about the hobby. So thank you for that. Guys, if you don't listen to Double Coverage, check him out. Awesome camaraderie, awesome back and forth, just like Andrew and I have. And that does make all the difference. How about some other thank yous? Thank you to all of the people who took in stride the award nominations, realizing that it is not the most, easy thing in the world to do. We were in a difficult spot of just picking, people who could have been in there. We obviously left out people who were deserving. The vote was not done in the most official of ways, and it was just done by comments. But we thank you all for participating in that because it was all done in the name of fun. And tallying up the votes was difficult. It was no fun. I wanted to give an award to all of you guys, and I'll do so here and tell you, yes, CardPorn, you win too. Yes, everybody wins. You win just because it is a cool thing that the hobby cares enough to care, and that there are people out there who care enough to even comment. And that's a good thing going into 2022 because we're all kind of moving forward in a good hobby that is an awesome community. Thank you to Fanatics for buying Topps and for letting an old man like myself dream about continuing to collect Topps cards and Bowman prospects, and maybe even throw in some cool Topps refractors in. Maybe you'll have Topps Finest back. You guys all know I'm a huge fan of that 1993 Finest refractor set. Thank you to those all of. Thanks to Ken Goldin for being so interested in our vote and for asking for content creators to come out and seek him out.
He brings personality to the hobby. He brings personality and fun.
It's amazing. We need more faces like that to the hobby. And literally, I would just go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I sometimes just go, but I'm in a mood.
Good. I can tell, and you're in a good mood. I like your mood. Do I dare? I'm sitting here like. I want to give a compliment to CardPorn, but all my compliments to CardPorn come back with DMs of how I don't compliment the right way, so I got a little worried. But you got to understand, behind CardPorn, the faceless account, there is a human, and that human still has feelings, and they put this in their story. Let's see how the vote does, because I think it'll be less biased. Because sure, people love us who follow us, but also people who hate us follow us.
Right,
and I think. What makes them so interesting is they're very self-aware, knowing that people don't like them, yet they still keep going day after day after day. And there's a lot to that, because they do a lot of good for the hobby too. And we've been not attacked, but questioned by them quite a few times, but rightfully so. And they question others, what feels at least in a fair manner. We could discuss.
What's funny is we'll take heat for that. Because we should be, we're the hero, make them the villain. We get messages like that. We get, like the whole, hey, every hero needs a villain. I think I might even said that myself from time to time. But I think there's room for all of it here. And it's cool conversation topics, you know what I mean? And yes, I do think that, you can compliment CardPorn. They come after us. They definitely do. But you know what? Here's the thing, right? It would be bad if somebody got enough of a following that there wasn't anyone checking them. So, it's not us. We're small compared to some of the hobby folks that are out there. But even if, one person is acting based on what we're talking about here, it's good that there's people out there, with a counterpoint to it. Listen, it's not just all about card porn. Listen, poor Nat Turner. You had to see how upset he was that he lost out in a nail biter to Ken Goldin.
He probably
did
went like
message
this.
me last night, but only to laugh at my post about clearly Donruss, but not to complain about losing to Ken. But that was a nail biter too. Listen, it is what.
Anytime he feels like he's losing, he goes into his collection and he's like, "I just bought this one for fun. Oh, this one was fun."
No, but listen, there's thank yous to go around. There's thank yous to people who were here for for longer than I've been here, right? There, people like Card Collector 2 and
Card Collector 2 has not been here longer than you have.
Yes, he has in the hobby. That's how you build up. That's how you build up. I've been in the hobby for a while, but I wasn't on Instagram. I wasn't in this space. I wasn't doing content like this. This is somebody who has I'll say it, paid their dues. You know what I mean? Somebody like that. That's who the hobby's built up on. The card ladder guys, Josh, Cardboard Card, people who have been here, who are now able to see the the fruits of it and hope they are as optimistic about the future 5, 10, 15, 30 years as I am. And listen, we're giving out thank yous. We're giving out props. How about Josh Luber? We'll give a little thank you to him as well, right? He didn't get a lot of votes. He didn't complain, but you know what he did? He bought tops instead. It's not a bad consolation prize. You know what I mean? And that's, big thank you to those guys. They're accessible.
Big thank you to LCSs. How are we gonna I want to do best LCS, but I don't think that's a fair category. What about all the LCSs that have grinded and struggled, dude? Running retail is effing hard. It's really hard, and there's a ton of LCSs that. I don't know if the hobby would be the hobby if you couldn't go to a store 2, 3, 5 miles away and buy something impulsively and break cards and have a community and talk to people. So a lot of LCSs, they don't reap all the benefits that a lot of the other businesses have in 2021. But dude, you're the real MVP.
Listen, here's one last one. And I should have brought this up earlier because, we should close it on this high note. But I've never sold cards on a story before. And I posted 3 cards today.
Did you sell them?
With prices. I didn't. I don't know. I literally listed them right before this episode. So I'm curious.
I like that. A little bit fun. You're having some fun.
I'm see what it is because, it's part of what I talked about today. It's Trey, it's Burrow, it's Herbert. It's, I gave those guys for a reason. And I asked people, are they buys, sells, or holds? And, that'll be fun because I'm trying to sell it. And if the vast majority of people are like, sell this now, he's never going to be worth more. That doesn't help, the sale. But it'll be fun. It's something different. You know what I mean? It's, I've never done it before. And, I'll let everybody know if they do sell and the whole 9 yards. And we'll go from there. It's fun stuff. More different stuff coming into the year. I said I was going to post more content, and I guess that counts. So... Thanks,
Love you, Luke Nation. We'll be back tomorrow.